Oh my gosh, we are so excited. Live again from the IOCDF conference in Seattle. And we are joined by the program director of the International OCD Foundation, Stephanie Cogen. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. Yeah.
Do you have any confessions? We should start with that. I don't think you have lived experience with OCD,
I do not have lived experience.
Do you have any confessions of, the anxiety that popped up as you were getting ready for this conference? I know that you've helped kind of oversee this massive conference here. Anything that popped up for you?
Well, I'm anxious right now. This is my first time doing a podcast or anything like this. So I'm sitting with those feelings, and I'm going to get through it, and we are going to get through it together. You guys are making me feel very comfortable.
The discomfort is making you stronger.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
I'm Alicia.
And I'm Liam. We both have OCD, and instead of spiraling alone, we decided to turn our symptoms into a podcast. You're welcome.
Here, we overshare real stories, laugh through the anxiety, and talk to actual experts who can explain why your brain keeps asking, what if I accidentally marry my cousin?
Whether your thing is hand washing, mental rituals, or just silently panicking during normal conversations, congrats. You have found your people.
This is a safe place, unless you're an intrusive thought, in which case, get in line, buddy. We're booked.
So grab a weighted blanket, cancel your plans for the 5th time, and let's dive in. This is the OCD Confessional.
And yes, we did check this recording 4 times before uploading it.
So it's Alicia's and my first time here at the conference. And Alicia is only like a year and a half or so into knowing she has OCD, and now she's here at the conference.
I am, and it's
an exposure in and of itself.
It is. It is an exposure within itself, but we won't go down that road.
Tell me about this conference. You've now been here for, you said, how many? 13
Over
years?
13 years,
13
yes.
years.
Yeah.
So what should people know about what is this global conference?
So the annual OCD conference, it's just such a unique experience. And I don't know if you folks have been to other professional conferences or just other conferences in general.
Have you?
But
No. Other than Leah's, I've been to some of Leah's
That's why
conferences.
you thought that we could just show up and not have anything in our booth?
That was the ADHD setting in.
Okay. Leave that for me. Sorry.
Some people might call
No.
that weaponized incompetence. That's me saying,
I know that term, yeah.
I don't know anything.
No, but what's so unique about this is even if you have been to other spaces, it's nothing like what we have going on here because we bring together the entire OCD community. So there's people with OCD and related disorders, there's friends, family supporters, and I should mention people with OCD of all ages from, down to like 3 or 4 years old up to 100 plus. We have programming for everybody. And then we also bring our clinical folks in, our mental health therapists, our psychiatrists, our prescribers.
The best in the world.
The best in the best, yes. In addition to our researchers and then students and trainees of all various disciplines who are interested in working with or treating or researching OCD. So we bring all those people together, and that's so unique. I can't think of another conference that does it like we do, and you can really feel it in the atmosphere. It's just such a sense of community, and it's very electric and very motivating, very hopeful, and very welcoming and inclusive here. And I just love that about what we do, and it's just so reflective, I think, of who we are as an organization, even beyond this conference. It's kind of a little microcosm here. We want to serve everybody. We want to bring everybody together, and this is, kind of the big time of year where you can really visibly see that. It's a really great kind of visible demonstration of what our mission is and how we seek to be as an organization.
Yeah, can confirm that just in the few hours we've been here, so many people have come through and they're willing to share their stories. They seem so energized by what's happening here. For someone with OCD, why should they come to the conference? I feel like for a professional, someone who is giving the care, it makes sense to come and learn, other interventions, what other people have learned. But for someone with OCD, what do they get out of this?
Yeah, they get a lot out of it. And, you mentioned you're newer in your journey. And we have folks of all stages of their journey. Some people may have been diagnosed last week and, luckily enough, happened to find us and come here. And then some folks may have been on more of a lifelong journey. Maybe they've been coming for several years or living with OCD and managing it for several years. But obviously, there's the key takeaways of you can learn some new strategies, some new ways of being in your treatment. You can get motivated. If you haven't started your treatment journey, you can get some really good insights about where to go and, things to look for and things you should search out in your treatment journey. But even beyond that, I think for some people, this may be the first time they ever meet another person with OCD. And it's just such this amazing sensation of, oh my gosh, I'm not alone in this. Because OCD can be so isolating, right? It makes you, we're all trapped inside our heads and no one else knows what I'm going through. And then you come to a place like this and you see thousands of other people who know what it's like and know what you're going through.
It really is special. I would say my first experience, I was getting in my head and I started to question everything and I was like, wait, everyone is. We're all in the same boat here. And supportive and friendly. It's really been an incredible experience. If someone is wanting to come, but they can't get on a flight, they don't want to face their fears. I almost didn't come because, and I actually had a follower message me and say, I really want to be there, but I just can't. I can't do it. You know, it was too hard. Can they stream it online?
They absolutely can. And we, every year, we started this a few years ago in 2024. That was the first year we did a virtual component. And this year we have, I think, 5 to 8 things at any given time that folks can access. Some are hybrid, where there's going to be folks here in Seattle sitting in the room in addition to folks being online. And then we actually have a handful of virtual only sessions. So they're 100% live stream. No one in this room there will be no audience in person. It's all going to be online. Oh, wow. And that includes support groups, which is new this year. So we're really trying to create that space and that sense of community online as well as in person. And folks can do that, honestly, up until even Sunday afternoon, they can still register. And even if they're not able to attend things live, they can watch them on demand after for 90 days. So
that's very cool. Yeah, Alicia texted me, instead of getting on my flight, it's tough for Alicia to get on flights. I've seen a full meltdown, actually, in South America one time with that. And I texted you, it's been nice knowing you.
I think that is being really funny with that one.
It was actually pretty funny.
What's actually funny is that he would have been here with no decor because I had it all on the plane.
Oh, no.
If you had perished I don't think I would have been here at all. I would have been flying off to Spence and Parker and Smith and taking care of them. So what are you most excited about? I know you can't have favorites. You're the program director here, but what are you really excited to learn or learn more about at this conference?
Every year we always change things up a little bit, but one of the constants for me that is always it's hard, the way you say, with putting this conference together, I never want to pick a favorite because I feel like the whole thing is my baby, but I love the youth programming. I love seeing the little kids running around and just being themselves and making new friends and learning new things and just being so brave in so many ways. That is always the piece that I think will make me weep openly and, just really touches the heart. Frankly, I am incredibly excited for your keynote, sir. So I cannot wait for tomorrow. No pressure at all.
It's very good.
Yes. And then I always love, we have a whole research track where folks are giving you the updates on the latest and greatest, sometimes even things that haven't been published yet. So it's like we're getting a little sneak preview of some of the coolest new insights. So I always love, I love all of it. As I say, it's all my child, it's all my baby. And there's some things that I get extra excited for.
Quick break. We'll be right back. But first, a word from our sponsor. The same distressing, unwanted thoughts keep playing over and over in your mind. The same rituals keep eating up your time, holding you back from enjoying your life. You've tried talk therapy before and spent session after session diving into those thoughts, trying to understand them, trying to fix them, but somehow they just get worse. And the shame piles on because you think, why isn't this working? What's wrong with me? If this sounds familiar, here's what you need to know. You're not the problem. You're experiencing something that a lot of people with OCD experience. Getting your life back is possible because OCD is highly treatable. It just requires a completely different approach than other mental health conditions. In fact, standard talk therapy often makes OCD worse because it encourages you to analyze those intrusive thoughts or try to replace them with positive ones. But with OCD, the more attention you give the thoughts, the stickier they become. That's where NoCD comes in. NoCD provides virtual therapy designed specifically for OCD. Every single one of their therapists is extensively trained in a type of therapy called ERP, or exposure and response prevention, which is the most effective treatment available for OCD. And they get the training from world-renowned OCD experts so they truly understand what you're dealing with, even the stuff that feels impossible to say out loud. In live face-to-face virtual sessions, your NoCD therapist will teach you how to take the power away from intrusive thoughts so you can live the life that you want to live. And between sessions, you'll be able to message your therapist anytime, join dozens of life support groups, and continue your progress with other expert-developed therapy tools. NoCD is also covered by insurance for over 138 million Americans, and their team makes it really simple to get started. Visit nocd.com and book a free 15-minute call. That's nocd.com to learn more and talk to someone who can help, because you deserve treatment that actually works for OCD.
And you have a little bit of a specialty with pediatric OCD. You've really dove into that space. What are the newest things with that? We've talked with kids who have pandas, right? So they had strep, and the next day they woke up with OCD. And then we have kids that have taken that more standard thing where it pops up for them someday with contamination OCD or some other theme, and then it takes its course. What is the newest kind of thing with childhood OCD, and are we, do you think, doing a better job at this point identifying and treating?
Well, the IOCDF is about to publish a pediatric white paper. So some of you may have seen last year we had a general, so to speak, white paper that covered, the lifespan with a main focus on adults. So we're about to do kind of a partner release. And stay tuned, watch the space, in maybe about a month or so that focuses specifically on pediatrics. And unfortunately, it tells us, we like to think of it as giving us a baseline. So now that we know what the data is saying about how big the treatment gap is for pediatrics, now we have a place to go. Now we have a story to tell. Now we have a narrative to spin to try to get more people on board and try to reduce that gap. But anyway, so that's coming out soon. And then we are going to use that to springboard so many, advocacy activities to try to spread awareness and help reduce stigma. But a few things that have come up through that paper is some of the special stuff that, that you think about with kids that you don't necessarily think about with adults is the role of schools, for example.
Yeah.
So, at the IOCDF, we have a great program called Anxiety in the Classroom that is all online, it's all free access, and it has just so many incredible tools, resources, and immediately applicable learnings for folks who work in schools. So we're doing a lot to kind of get on the ground and get that out into the schools and work with school professionals. Yeah, so it's a really great and robust program, and I think some of the stuff that came out of the white paper really underscores the need for it, to try to get to that earlier detection. So once we have the earlier detection and diagnosis, earlier connection to treatment, and we can, start getting rid of those statistics that we hear so often about the huge time that folks have to lose to their OCD between their first onset of symptoms and when they can finally start finding some freedom and relief.
It was like 30 years each for
Yeah.
you and me.
Mm-hmm. And imagine if you had a teacher or a pediatrician or just someone early on in your life who recognized it because they knew, because they finally were taught and finally knew what OCD actually is instead of just the stereotypes and the stigma that they are fed through the media and things like that.
And they were lives.
Yeah.
How bad is the picture? I know that you're going to have a white paper. You don't necessarily want to give everything away.
A little sneak preview.
Yeah, give us a little teaser on how bad that situation is with kids. I mean, my understanding is it probably should be better than when Alicia and I were growing up. We've probably come a ways, but it sounds like there is a lot of work to do. So give us a sense of that.
Yeah, so for folks who may have read our original white paper, you know that it was about 97-98% of folks were not getting the evidence-based care. So it is slightly better for kids. It's about 95% are not getting evidence-based care. So we still have a long way to go. And it is, again, marginally better than it is for the adults, which, it's, I guess, it's a little hopeful in some ways, but we have a very long way to go. And so, we're going to be hitting the ground really hard with getting the awareness out about this and, actionable strategies of what, no matter who you are, how you can help and how you can start with this early intervention and getting the word out in your own community, starting small, talking to school districts, talking to your family's pediatrician. Like, that makes such an impact. And
it's huge. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I personally wrote a letter to the school and the principal explaining what it was, and they all had a meeting and sat down with my son, and
I didn't know that.
Oh, it changed everything. This was for ADHD.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But I said, here's what it is. They didn't know, and they were punishing him. They were punishing him. I was like, he's getting in trouble. I said, but and they changed their approach. They changed how they spoke to him. Everything changed.
Amazing.
And it was just me.
Yeah.
Telling these teachers.
I would say take the just out of that. Yeah. There's no just in that. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, it's much needed.
Yeah, that's great. Are there certain interventions for this issue that you are recommending? In addition to, one person doing their part and calling up the school committee, are there other things we should be doing, in the healthcare space, for instance, doing better training with therapists, or what are some of the other recommendations you would make on that?
Absolutely. And so that's the other piece. And it's such a thing where we want to balance the message, where we don't want to blame and shame people for not knowing what they don't know.
Sure.
And we want to teach them what they don't know. So it's all about having, finessing it in such a way that folks realize, oh, okay, I actually don't know that. Let me learn. Let me get ready. So yes, there are absolutely going to be strategies for health systems and for training directors and for graduate programs as well. Because I know, as you've heard, and I know you may have seen and just experienced in your lives, a lot of graduate mental health professionals don't really get specialized training in OCD. Maybe an hour, maybe if they're lucky enough to have an internship or work at a place that has one of our esteemed, scientific and clinical advisory board members on the faculty, then they're luckier than most, because the majority of folks coming, I'm a social worker by training, and I didn't really get any education about OCD in my graduate education. So learned it all through working here.
I was just going to say, you probably learned it all from here.
Yes, exactly.
I learned it all from the podcast.
We need to be doing much more on that. Someone's listening. This is the first time that they've heard of IOCDF or the conference. What would you want them to know about the mission? Where should they go to learn more?
I would want them to know that, our mission, it's short and it's sweet. It's that we want to build a world where nobody affected by OCD suffers alone, and we want to provide help, healing, and hope to all. So I would want folks to know that. I would want folks to know that there is hope, and that there is a place for them, and that there's this incredible community just waiting to wrap their arms around them and include them, including at this conference. And it only happens once a year, but we have so many other touch points and ways to get involved, both with us as, headquarters, as national, but with the local affiliates. We have them all over the country and over 30 states. We also have global partners all over the world. I know you guys have quite a reach, but I would just encourage you, if you're ready, whenever you are ready, we will be here for you. So reach out, and whether that's just following on social media, making a comment. We have a great online community called Health Unlocked that's like a peer-to-peer messaging board. Maybe post a message on there, So if you're not ready to come and join us in person, totally fine. We have whatever you might want, at whatever level you're ready for, even just reading an article, reading a blog post, teaching yourself something new. That all counts. It all is just a great step forward in building this world we all want to build, where nobody affected by OCD suffers alone.
I love that.
Yeah.
And the IOCDF for me was huge when I first was diagnosed and needed to figure out, what is this thing? I didn't know anything about it. I had a total misconception, as many people do, of what it is. And the IOCDF, the resources online, the ability to connect with a therapist who specializes in that, and be able to trust that, okay, there's an organization here that knows what this is, knows how to help me. That was huge. So shout out to the IOCDF for that and everything you've done since then to help. Next year is New York.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, please come. We're going to be in New York. So we like to bop the conference all around the country to make it a little bit easier to get to for folks. So we're on the West Coast this year, so we're going to go back to the East Coast next year. We'll be in New York City over the summer. I would encourage everybody to come. It's just, there's nothing like this conference. And as we have mentioned, if you're not ready to join us in person, we will have the virtual component again. And then if you're interested in potentially speaking, we always do a proposal system. You don't have to have 1,000,000 degrees or have been in the field for 20 years to propose. We take everyone as a speaker here, as you may have seen on the schedule. We have kids as speakers. We have,
everyone's facing their fears.
Exactly. Yes. And we want to encourage you to do that. And then if you don't want to speak, we have tons of volunteer opportunities. We offer scholarships. So there's just so many ways to engage with the conference. And yes, next year, New York City. It's going to be great.
We're going to New York, Liam.
Yeah.
We'll see you there.
I might set up like a confessional booth. This is Alicia's idea.
I love that.
Create a little booth. People walk in and confess. One last question.
Sure.
How loudly tomorrow are people going to boo me after I give my speech?
Well, I'm not making it there, so.
So it won't be
I think
Liam thinks people are going to boo him.
I think if they have tomatoes, they'll throw them.
I'm gonna choose a path, and I'm gonna say maybe they will. We have no way of knowing, but far more likely, I would say I have a feeling you are going to get a standing ovation.
Oh man, if I get I might actually cry if I get a standing ovation. For Leah, because my wife is gonna give the speech with me. I would cry for her because she's nervous.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Steph, for everything you've done and for inviting us in here to this booth.
This was so fun.
Such a cool experience.
This is great. Yeah, thanks again.
You killed it.
Yeah, thank you for letting me sit with my fears and face them with you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the OCD Confessional. Be sure to follow this show so you get new episodes. You can subscribe to us on YouTube or find us on Instagram and TikTok at the OCD Confessional.